Stella, and I am living at the edge of art. This is a new podcast I'm doing to talk about faith and real life and to share with you some of what's going on as I make the move out here to the outskirts of Art, Texas. I wanted to share a little bit about this place and how we got here. And I am filming in front of the most gorgeous tree that I get to see outside the window here. So I grew up on a ranch, and so you can take the girl out of the ranch, but you can't take the ranch out of the girl. I love being outside and have always liked being out in nature. My husband, however, is a fanatic. His name is Hunter, and he is a hunter. And when you are a hunter in Texas, you don't get to hunt unless you own land. It's really hard to do that because there's not a lot of public land for hunting. So he had the dream for a long, long time that he wanted to have a place to hunt. And so we saved and dreamed and planned and finally found this place. And when we bought it, I started referring to it as a ranch. And I was told by my spouse that you're not allowed to call it a ranch if it's only 90 acres, because in Texas, a ranch is big. But I call it a ranch. And then I wanted to give it a name. And I came up with what I thought of were some really excellent names, but he didn't like any of them. And then he decided that we should choose a really corny, dorky, kind of ironic name, kind of like subdivision names, like the kind of name that only sounds right if you whisper it, like Sandstone. But we haven't found the name. And so in the meantime, I just started calling it the Bitey Pokey Stingy Ranch because everything bites, pokes, or stings. Plenty of scorpions and little gophers with big teeth and a whole lot of rattlesnakes. And so we have encountered more rattlesnakes than I would like. So when we started out, I guess I should add also that we had a guy come around and tell us that he could hunt for rattlesnakes and sell the skins and get them off of our property. And we said, go for it. And so I knew that I was a real Texas girl when I could tell people that I have a snake guy. So I have a snake guy. Anyway, we started out here camping. So we would camp when we'd come out here, and then we built a barn dominium, basically a metal building that's finished out on the inside, and it's sort of one big room. And so it has a bed and a kitchen and a bathroom, but that's about it. And so in order for us to really live out here, we're going to have to build more so that we have actual rooms and closets to put things in and, a washer and dryer and things that you need for life. And so this could be kind of a long, slow process, and it might be kind of fun to chronicle. I may not be as patient as I need to be in this process because this could take a while before we actually get to live here, which is why I call it the edge of art. But I have been spending a lot of time out here enjoying the beauty of this place, the beauty of nature. This is what is affectionately known as grasshopper season. There are tons of them. They're everywhere. I was reminded why we don't usually come out here in the summer. So they're about this big. And if you're listening and not watching, my hands are going this big. Lots of grasshoppers. But it has been good to be out here. And as I said in the first podcast, I have been on a sabbatical between churches, kind of waiting for the next thing to unfold. And it has been really hard because I used to just dream about having time to be out here. We never had enough time out here. My husband worked during the week and I do church on Sundays. And so that meant that for years, we just have never had enough time out here. And now that I've had lots of time out here, it's not the gift that I thought it would be because my brain doesn't stop. And it can be just kind of hard to sit with your thoughts and with God. There is a spiritual practice called sitting in the gaze of God. That you just imagine that God is looking at you. You sit in prayer and you imagine what it would be like for God to see you. And you can try it, and I will tell you that it is hard. It makes you squirm when you wonder what you look like to God. You wonder what God sees when God sees you. And so I know some have found it to be a beautiful spiritual practice. For me, I'm still working on it, accepting the fact that, as the mystics say, that God looks at us as a parent looks at a child in its arms. That can be hard to accept, but I'm working on that. And so I find myself, like Eve, being cast out of the Garden of Eden, facing the sun and trying to figure out what's next for her. I love going to the Umlauf Sculpture Garden in Austin, and the sculpture of Eve is so inspiring to me as she stands there, the edge of the sun. And so I want to say a little bit more of that. But first I'd like to read a psalm. I lift my eyes to the hills. From where will my help come? My help comes from the Lord, who made heaven and earth. He will not let your foot be moved. He who keeps you will not slumber. The Lord is your keeper. The Lord is your shade at your right hand. The sun shall not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will keep you from all evil. He will keep your life. The Lord will keep your going out and your coming in from this time and forevermore. Psalm 121. The Psalms help us to trust in God, to sit with God. I've been reading a lot of church history and learning about the church fathers. It seems like when I get frustrated at the state of our country and looking at politics and just the bleh of that, it helps to put things in perspective and think about Christian history and think about the fact that as Christians, we have been through many, many seasons, many ages, dark ages, and ages of persecution, and to realize the places that we have been as a Christian family helps to put things in perspective and to give us hope and not despair that we have lived through times when Christians have been in power and when they haven't, when Christians have had a voice and when they haven't. And so Saint Benedict in particular has been inspiring to me lately when I think about his decision to kind of pull away from the world. He lived in a cave for 3 years. And that kind of hit me in the face when I realized that I'm having trouble just being still and contemplative and prayerful for a few weeks. I don't think I could do a few years. But Saint Benedict wouldn't have become Saint Benedict without that time alone in the cave, thinking and praying and being with God. Saint Ignatius is another inspiring figure. He developed this way of being, of every day doing an examination of your day and doing an examination of your week and your life and sitting with God and kind of sitting next to Jesus as you look at your life and your day and what did I do today and when was I being a disciple and when was I not? And seeing your life through Christ's eyes and your day through Christ's eyes, giving thanks for the good things that you might have not appreciated during the day, or having a different angle on things that you might have struggled with in the day. Ignatius developed his faith. His faith came to be because he was stuck in bed. He was a soldier. He broke his leg. He had to be in this place recovering, and there wasn't a lot to read except Christian things. And he came to know God that way. And I wonder if he hadn't have been bedridden, if he hadn't have broken his leg, would we, the Christian community, have all this stuff, this wealth of spiritual practice and his inspiration in his writings, he couldn't have gotten there without being stuck in bed. And Benedict couldn't have given us all these things without being stuck in a cave. And so if you are in an in-between place like I am, if you feel like things aren't moving fast enough for you, if things aren't happening, if your prayers aren't getting answered, it might be good to ask yourself, as I am, God, what do you want me to do with this time, this waiting time? What spiritual work do I have to do? And most importantly, for what do I need to ask forgiveness? How do I need to repent? Because God is doing things in our lives all the time, but we're not ready for them until we're ready for them. And so I think about Eve, about that sculpture, and I've been thinking about what I would say to Eve. And I wrote something that I want to share with you. If you go to Umlauf Sculpture Garden near Zilker Park in Austin, you will see Eve. She's standing there, weary arms shading her face, just outside the gates of Eden. I feel compelled to offer something that will comfort her. What could I say to Eve, a woman who has been cast out, unable to go back to what life was before, wondering if she has the energy for what's next, knowing she has brought so much upon herself? I want her to know that I know more of the story than she does. I know that she can live out here in the sun, that God is no less with her than he was in the garden, because he is good and he is God. I want to tell her that she'll learn some things about herself, mostly that she's stronger than she knows, and that there are people that she hardly knows and people she hasn't met yet who will come alongside her. And I know there is an Adam, but he's not here now as I glance around. I want to tell her that he's out there, not far. She's not alone. And I know there is a great, terrible, amazing, wonderful, beautiful adventure ahead, and it's worth the journey. But this is silly. She's a statue made of bronze, and she'll still be here, pausing at the edge of her life the next time I come by. And so I say these things to myself. I have really enjoyed writing for you and talking to you, and I hope you've enjoyed listening. Please reach out. Let me know what you think. Let me know if any of this is resonating with you. Let me know what you'd like to hear about in future episodes. You can go to my website, pastorstella.net, to contact me. I've also shared some resources there, including some information about Umlauf Sculpture Garden. You can find out what else is there. It is a beautiful setting right near Zilker Park in Austin, and it's a great place to go journal and think and just be. And so I hope you'll take some time to just be, and I hope you'll be back to join me as I am living on the edge of art.